think everything looks alright. Don't see anything getting dropped. Hit rate looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna start this. I'll just show what I have so far, and then I'll go over what I'm going to do next. So, basically, let me run this. This is a bunch of debug information. I've got this little guy here. I'll make him like a green smiley face, and yellow smiley face. Green will work. Green. There we go. So, got my character. Movement works, collision works. These are supposed to be rocks. I'll redo all of these art tiles and things later. If I go off one side, it scrolls just like in the original Legend of Zelda. Do not have words. So, yeah, that's good. Scrolls in all 4 directions. Scrolls faster horizontally than vertically just because there's more things. Like it has to move farther distance. This is all the level data. So you can see like 4 through 18 only has one thing, which is why this is only the one line. But then up here it's got like all of these filled out. Map is 20 tall, these are 40 wide, it's supposed to be 20 by 40. This is the tile set that it's pulling from. So if I go to the default level and I change rock to like debug tile, which is another image that I have now, if I scroll to load it, you can see this is loading debug tiles instead now. If I change it back to rock, now it'll load rock instead. And I could add debug tiles. The next one, I could say like file is debug tile collision is true. Now if I go and load one, now you can see these are debug tiles, and if I collide with them, it stops me. So that's working really good. This is the map tile set. So what I want to do next is I want to add this stuff to the log, because right now the only thing that gets logged is the version of the application, the fact that settings get loaded, or if the settings don't exist, that it's using all the defaults, and it lists, I don't even think it lists all the defaults, it just says that it's using them. So I want to list the controls that get loaded, window size, whenever a level loads, whenever a tile loads, and you activate a buffer, and when the buffer loads. Buffer being whenever you go off screen, off to the side like this. This is actually, so like, you're in this area here, and then when you go up to the side, it loads in a copy over here. It's not actually a copy, it's just, it loads the next file. It's just that the debug level that I'm using has all 4 sides as the debug level, the same thing. So you go off to this side that loads this, moves the camera over, then it teleports you back to the opposite side, like over here, and reloads this whole area. And then these are just black as placeholders, so I know, okay, something you got off screen somehow, so you shouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, I'm going to start with this log. So for controls, I want to go to, and I have kind of a log system. Click-team fusion is kind of weird because you can't like make a function and then just run it. You have to make. I make a fast loop, which is kind of like a for loop, but it's supposed to happen like as fast as possible between frames. So if you do too much stuff during a fast loop, it can stutter and pause, and sometimes I kind of like that. Like when you load a level, that's a ton of information you have to read from disk, and then create a bunch of copies of a thing. That's a bunch of stuff in a for loop, so when you move off screen and it loads everything, it kind of stutters for like 4 frames, but I kind of like that feel. But the way I'm doing the log is I am setting a global string called log text, and then running this loop if it needs to come out immediately. So in load settings, controls, I am going to kind of copy this, I think, paste it down here. I'll make a new group, call it log. This is the thing that says log loaded from, or settings loaded from here. So then controls, I am just going to, how am I going to do this actually? Because I need to do this once, and I don't want to, oh, I know how I can do this. I can just do this, and then say, like I already have a log loaded, and I don't want to make like a ton of global variables just to keep track of loaded things. Let me try this. If I tell these to run only once, limit conditions, run the event once, if I do this for all of it, will this work? Because I don't know if this will work if I like leave the frame and come back, like if I went to the title screen and then came back. What the heck is this? Change this song. Okay. So log text. I can just keep it as this default because if I see anything in here, then I'll know that it ran. So I can save this, so I run it, and then if I go back to the log, not this, get out of here. So you can see all those just got ran. Hit F2 over and over, it does not rerun them, so that's good. So this does only happen once. That means I could also, no, because I need to check if the log is loaded for some other things, so I need to keep the log loaded thing in there. So this I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this, because here I could say log text plus. This is also important. This just makes it so I can put a bunch of log messages in there and print them all at once in one line. So I could say move right is set to this value, so I can change it to the string, and then I can copy paste this to all of them. Change to this list view. Now I can change this to left. This is supposed to be right. Change this to up. I could put these all in the same thing actually. I don't know why I'm doing it like tall like this. Like I could just do this. I'll leave these split just so that I can have those comments there. But yeah, I don't need them all split up like that. That'd take extra time. I actually don't know that it would take extra time. I haven't tested that, but I can assume it would take extra time just because I doubt that clicking is optimized for that kind of thing. Call this primary action. So it's primary. Secondary action. Secondary. And then inventory. LoZ inventory. So now if I ran this and check my log, yes, that's good. If I wanted to, I could also convert this to this character code, like the actual key name for that. And because I want to, I'm going to. So I'm going to do that. I'll put this in parentheses. Select this. Or I won't copy that yet. I'll go like this. I can say this Control X, conversion into key, like that. Now if I run it and check the log, yeah, it says D. I'll add some spaces in there. Okay. I'm just gonna redo these. Because it's changing 3 letters or 3 words left instead of doing a bunch of copy pasting and like moving stuff around. I'm going to move my microphone. This might be weirdly loud, just so that the microphone is in front of me. Check the volume levels. Test. Okay, that looks good. Okay. So now I want to do the same thing for the different actions. So I'll say primary action, and then primary and primary. Change primary to secondary. Oh, it's adding spaces in there. I don't want that. There we go. So now, if I run this and check the log, it's got the keys that I am using as well as their IDs, and that is very good. That is exactly what I want. So I can cross that off of the to-do. Now I just want to log the window size, and for that I'm going to need a new object. Check to get the name of. Window control? Yes, that's what it is. Window control object. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new one of these. So I'll add a new group of events. Call it window. Or actually, I'll call it video. Window size. So video width, and I'm checking if it is the default value because it doesn't exist. And if it is the default value of -1, then I'm going to say window width is not set using the default. In video, I'm going to set the width to an integer of, I will say, 1280. And then height. Same thing for that. Video height to 720. And then I will go ahead and throw this in here. And I will say if the file name is not blank because it's loaded. I'm going to say window size is just steal this. String plus an X plus string that, and change width to height. So now if I save it and run, and check the log, you can see, oh, that's not good. I need this to run only once. How big did this file get? $32 kilobytes. Yeah, you gotta be careful with loops and printing. There we go. So window size is 1280 by 720. Next, I need to actually make window size work setting. There we go. So then I will say once width is loaded, I'm going to say, this is kind of a weird thing, and I'll show you why. Let me add a new string for some debugging. I set this to, let's say, Windows, application window, vertical size. It has to be in a string, so it gets printed. So if I set this to the size, plus new line, this is a 1280 by 720 window, but you can see the vertical height is actually 779. That's because these two bars at the top are taking up extra space. And while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to get rid of this menu bar here. And now you can see it's even a little shorter. The reason I can't just take the 39 that gets added on is because it's only 39 on Windows 10. And if you were running Windows 7 or 8 or Vista for some reason, or you are in a virtual machine, or you have different settings, it's not going to be 39, it's going to be different. And so, I have to do some weird trickery. So, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to get the difference, because I know that when I start it is 1280 by 720, and so I'm going to set on Y settings, video, at the start of the frame. Can you hold alter values? You can. Win X diff and win Y diff. So at the start of the frame, I can set win X diff to the current application window, horizontal size of the window, minus 1280, and then do the same thing for vertical. So set the Y diff with Y size minus 720. So now if I run this, open the debugger, go ahead and add window control. So now you can see that it has that 39 and 16 on the horizontals. So now if I go ahead and instead of just setting this value directly, I want to set that value plus the difference. So I'm going to say frame window set width to that value, which I do not have copied anymore. Frame window set width this plus the values with X diff. Change frame size. That's what I want. So that made it slightly wider for some reason. Feel that that's not what I wanted. Position, visibility, resize, X size. Okay, there we go. There we go, now it's unchanged. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to not change at all. And then I will say resize, Y size. Frame window is the thing inside the actual window. That's where I got mixed up. So I get height, Y diff. Although I want that in a separate thing. Take this here, save, and then run it. Good, that's unchanged, that's exactly what I wanted. Because then I could do a settings menu where I tell them, like, here are the settings that you're allowed to have. And I can show this if I go ahead and click the window options, force it to keep screen ratio, tolerance is 0%, resize display to fit window, and I want it to fit inside. That should be fine. So now if I make it bigger... Oh, this has to run only once. Insert. Run the conditions, run only once, run only once. Now I can resize it. Yeah, good. So you can see it does expand to fit the window size, but it keeps the screen ratio, which is kind of what I want. Because I don't want like a weird 4:3 stretched aspect ratio. So that's good. About anti-aliasing. I'll leave it with that. I think keeping the screen ratio makes anti-aliasing not terrible. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so like if I go ahead and open the settings file, I can just copy paste from this. Open file. If I set the width to like 1600 and height to 900 and save, now it is bigger. That works, and then if I go to the log, loads that up, figure that, go ahead and run it, gets added back into the defaults, and then this says, yeah, window height and width not set, default value used. Perfect. The one thing I do want to fix is the window position is kind of weird. And that's actually pretty easy. I could just say position, X coordinate. What is the difference between immediate move and set position? Oh, weird. So position, set X coordinate to that is the size of the screen, which I can also get from this, so horizontal size of the screen, plus half, or no, it's divided by 2, minus, because that gets the direct middle of the screen, minus application window, horizontal size, also divided by 2. And I could make this slightly computationally faster, like that. So now that's centered, and if I go to the settings file, change this back to 1600 by 900, again, now that's horizontally centered, that's what I want. Now I just have to change it so it's vertically centered. Position, Y coordinate, to the screen, vertical size, minus the application window vertical size, all divided by 2. And I could go ahead and log that as well if I wanted to. And there's also another thing that I want to log. So I will say window size is that, window position is window vertical horizontal position first and then vertical position. And then I'm also going to say the screen information, screen size. Just because the main reason I'm doing this is to solve problems, and so I need as much information about the computer that it is running on, the game is running on, in order to solve those problems. And I'm also going to go ahead and throw in the screen depth as well. Save, run, that's centered, perfect, and then in the log, yeah. So sets the position, and then says the screen size is 1920 by 1080, we're at 32-bit pixel depth. And the reason I have that is in case, say, someone had this set to like 3000, and then they ran it. Now it is weird and like almost maximized, but not really. And we can see where the problem is, and is that 3000 is way bigger than the actual screen size. So, that's good. Now I want to log on level load. Close these up. Copy one of these. So that in load level, I can go ahead and spit out a message. And I want that message to get spit out first. So it's going to say loading level file. There's a lot of quotations. That is because in Fusion, if you have two quotes next to each other, it just basically escapes them into a single quote. That's because I want the level name in quotes. So I could say loading level, get global string, current level from file. And then it goes ahead and it deletes all backdrops. And then I'm actually also going to go ahead and say, I'm going to move this to its own thing. And it's not just for organization. It's also so that I can throw in something extra and make sure that the file exists. So I could like say insert if the file name is a file, which also checks if it exists. And it's just going to be the same path of what this is loading for. So if that is a file, or if it's not a file, because it's for an error, I'm going to log out error. Otherwise, it continues on. Trying to think of if there's some special way I want to log this out. I don't think so. I do want to get rid of this though. So it's loaded the level text. Loads the level text. Loads that into JSON. Here I could say like before the loops. Yeah, here I want to say loading tile set. And then here, I'm going to say generating map. And then at the very end, I'll just say level loaded. Then on load tile set, I want to print out the information that I'm currently just displaying to the screen. So I'm going to print out this, and I'll label it as a tile. Tile X. File name is that, and collision is that. And then I can do this. I can get rid of this. No, I'll steal some of this information and print it out. Let's take this and put it here when it says loading tile set. Say how many tiles are in the tile set. And then I could say this is the height of the map. So I will copy that, paste it into here. Just label that. I'll label the other one too, because why not? Those are labeled this. Copy this. I'm going to put that here. I'm going to reorganize this so it says the total width before actually listing everything out. Space there. So here's what I'm going to do. Rather than logging immediately, I'm going to put the first text before the loop and then let these get added and then print it all out. And that's why I have them as separate things and don't just always print it immediately. That's why I have it as a for loop that I can call whenever. So then I could do this. Square, because I have it marked as if they're collidable or not. So now if I run this, log's gonna get a whole ton of information, and it didn't. Why is that? What is the deal? That's very strange. Yeah, it's getting this information still. So why isn't it logging? Very strange. Yeah, because this is totally working. So what is the difference? Let me just try. Getting rid of some of these logs temporarily. Oh, can I not undo that now? That's really cool. Thankfully, I have it back up a million freaking times. LoZ Steam. Thank you for cooperating. Yeah, so why is it that it doesn't... Oh, because this is happening before the log is loaded, that's why. That would... yeah, that explains that, okay. Because if this is happening start of frame, log load... okay. I just have to say log loaded equals 1, insert... only one action, or run this event once. There we go. Now, yeah, it prints out all of the same information. Actually, even more information because I labeled it, but yeah, there we go. This is perfect. Excellent. I should say where the player spawns too. Right? No. Because the player only spawns once. But yeah, it should be listed on the levels. Because then I can just check if it exists, and if it does, use that as the current position. Okay. Level load player spawn. So this is good. Oh, I do not error if the file doesn't exist. This. Error could not load file. This. doesn't exist. Excellent. This is why you make a to-do list. So now at screen transitions, on activation I want to log something. Copy this. Player scrolling right. Plus current level plus arrow plus right level or level right. Yeah, there we go. First, just in case. Actually, it's easier if I do it here. So, this here, here, this here, and here, and then just change these from right to left, right to left, right to up, right to up, and right to down, right to down. There we go. Activation is covered. You can still test it, sure. Right, left, up and down. Oh, I went into it. Okay. Check log. So I see player scrolling right, default level 2, default level. It loads the tiles, and then it loads the tiles again. How big is this file? 15K. Almost 15K. And then, so player scrolling right, player scrolling left, and then player scrolling up. I want that U and up to be lowercase. And then I'll check the player scrolling down. Player scrolling down. Awesome. It's a lot of information to be storing, I think. But the main reason that I'm doing that is so that if I distribute this and then someone's like, my game's broken, I'm like, send me this file, and then I can see exactly like, oh, I see this, they walked left and then they walked into this tile. So, yeah, I don't, you know, I can see like, oh, I included the wrong version of the map, and I don't have to say, send me your entire copy of the thing, or I could say like, oh, you're just on an old version. Update. I don't really need this, actually. I don't need, because that's just aesthetic. It's not like actually functional. So log's done. So now, yeah, player spawn on level load. So I will add here. I will say begin. player spawn is X. And I'll have this as a tile position rather than an actual pixel position. So I'll say X is like 15 and Y is 20. Or I could say 20 and 10, and then I'll set you directly in the middle. So then in load level, how do I want to go about this? Because I want it to happen when you just come back from death. Because I'm trying to think, like, how can I do this fast and also not wastefully, like saving as many resources as possible. Because I don't want to like, I don't want to make like 16 different variables if I don't have to. I can. So if I check if the player's health is 0, begin, and then set the position, and then set the health to whatever their max health is, that's an option. Rhythm. I'm gonna go ahead and add health and max health anyway right now. So HP, MHP. These are strings. MHP, HP. So I'll say if MHP is 0, or if HP is 0, correct player position. I will just add a new one, insert group of events, spawn player. Global value. HP is less than or equal to, just to be safe, it's the same number of calculations. HP is less than or equal to, set HP to MHP, and then position X coordinate grab this. So I'll grab the Y position, rhythm, position Y coordinate to, instead of that, I want to get rhythm, get integer X times the level tile's height plus 80 plus that buffer at the top. No, this is Y, not X. And then I need to make sure that the JSON object is in player spawn. So it does go to the root at the end, so I just have to say navigation, enter object, player spawn. And then I will do the same thing for this. Subvalues integer X. So now if I run this, bam, right in the center. But if I go right or left, fine. Also gonna throw this into the load level loop so that it happens as fast as possible. And now, not moving to the center anymore. Or I'm still not moving to the center, rather. Good. I could also log this. Like this here. We could say spawning player with string HP, I'll say HP I'll just copy paste this. It'll be easier than me navigating other menus. Okay. I'll have checkpoint level here set. And then I can either say no, yeah, this is easier. I'll say checkpoint JSON. So I will say checkpoint is true. So like I think I'm just gonna leave checkpoints alone for right now, because I want this to be like in Legend of Zelda 1, where you spawn in different locations depending on where you died. So like if you died in a dungeon, you'll spawn at the start of the dungeon. But at the same time, I don't really want you to spawn in a dungeon just because that was the last place you visited. So I'm gonna get rid of checkpoints. I'll move on and come back to it. So I'll leave this on the to-do list. Checkpoint. Combat. Okay, so primary action is swing weapon. So I'm gonna do this by creating a sword. So active. And I'll just make a sword really quick. because I can make a better sword later. There we go. So I can set the hotspot like here. There we go. And then I want to turn auto rotations on. Call it a sword. No, I don't want to turn auto rotations on. I'll leave it off for right now. This guy is right animations like this. This down animation has it here. Left and then up. Go. So now I just have to add directions to the player movement. So in movement, I will go ahead and add a thing called animation. And ironically, it's going to be more complicated than the actual movement. So if movement horizontal is positive, that means you're moving right, so direction, select direction right. Negative is left. And then vertically positive is down, vertically negative is up. Go. It looks different directions, it's great. You can stop ruining my menu. Thank you. Okay. So insert events, primary. For right now, it will just have primary / the sword, but I'm going to change that to the Link's Awakening style. You can change it. But for right now, it's just going to / the sword. position, x coordinate, the hotspot, action point, I mean, and then position, y coordinate is y coordinate the action point, and then direction, select direction, use a calculation, it's going to be the direction of player. So you can see it's moving it to different positions. How am I going to do... I don't think the direction is what I want. Yeah, it'll be a cheap and easy way to do it. Because you can just right click and then say, create rotated directions. This one I'll put vertically. The other ones are fine. Good. Awesome. Now I just have to give it a timer. So set alpha value set attack timer to 0. And alpha values if attack timer is lower than the attack duration, or I'll set the attack duration to like 8 for right now. I'll add 1 to the timer. When it is greater or equal, I'm going to set the position to negative 128, negative 128, and I'm going to change this to when you push the key. Keyboard, key down. And the attack timer is 0, because I will also go ahead and set the attack timer to 0 there. No, that wouldn't work. I'd have to have this, and then start a frame. Set the attack timer to the attack duration. I'm going to go ahead and move the position setting. So move the position setting. No, not like that. Ah, I'm ruining everything. Just here. Just here. Actually, I have another idea. I'm gonna make you stop when you're attacking. Group of events, deactivate movement. And then when it stops, I will activate movement again. So now. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I could even add some ending lag onto that if I wanted to, but for now, that's fine. I just have to make it so that it's also deactivated. I could make a group of events input, put both of these in here, and then disable both of them instead of just movement. when you are transitioning. So now, do that, and I can try spawning an enemy from the level JSON. So for that I'm going to need an enemy. So I'm going to copy the player's stopped animation, copy, create an active, paste it on here, turn it red, because red is evil. Call it enemy. Make this more advanced later. For right now, I just want to spawn one when the level spawns, when the level loads. So, how am I going to do this? Well, I am going to, after it has generated the level map, if I check this, so it has map and then it goes back to the root and it has enemies. So I'm going to enter object named enemies. And then I'm going to loop generate enemies through all sub-objects. Go ahead and make some more groups for this. Load tiles. Level. Tiles row. Player. Insert group of events. I'm going to go ahead and make the spawn enemies group. And then, much like gen level, I'm going to copy this and change this to spawn enemies. Generate enemies, that's what it is. Rename this from spawn to gen. And so it's going to give me this, so I'm going to take the X and Y positions. So first I need to create object enemy wherever, and then I'm going to set the position just like I did the player. Yeah, actually I think exactly like I did the player. Yeah. Element to do enemy type. I'm going to disable create at start because I do not want it there when I start the game. I want to make them myself. So this should be at 5.2. Why did the player not spawn? Player is not the right spot. Oh, because I didn't go to root afterwards. Gotta go back to the root when I'm done. There we go. So 5-2, I do not see anything there. So that leads me to believe. Well, let me see if there's an enemy in. Oh, you know what? Let me. I hate that this is active by default. Destroy object if too far from frame, because that gives me a bunch of problems usually. Window control, don't need that anymore. Look for an enemy. We do have an enemy. He's at 1440, 784. So let me get the player. Find 1440, 784. That looks to be right here, but down slightly. Appears the player got stuck going up for some reason. And going down. And going right, okay. Enemy spawning has broken something. It does show up there.
Oh, cock.
Huh. What have I broken? Yeah, I've broken something. What does that do? Maybe I can open a debug window here. Get min values 3. That doesn't really give me anything. All it tells me is that I am indeed in this. It doesn't tell me why. Oh, I know why. Because I'm not reactivating input, I'm reactivating movement. Because I changed that. I just have to change all of these. Input. I was like, it's not like it wouldn't be reaching the end. But I forgot I changed the beginning, so I have to change the end as well. Now that should be fixed. So it wasn't the enemies generating what was breaking that, which is good. Ah, I want these to generate on layer 2, which is the foreground. Yeah, one would have put it behind. That is where I want it. Although I do not want it there. I'll put it a little lower. Now I want to make my sword deal damage. Have to log that, right? Okay. Not spawn player, gen enemies. object number of values plus enemies and then this one say enemy plus string index of grouped object plus colon plus string get integer x. Y. And then type is get string of, there we go. Yep. So this log, total enemies, enemy 0, cause is 5-4, type is debug, perfect. Spawning player with 6 HP, perfect. These at the end because I want to deal with them later. Not quite yet. So basic enemy movement, I just want them to move up, down, left, and right at random, basically. So I'm gonna make a new thing, a new group. Enemy AI AI timer. And AI timer 2. I'll just have 2 timers. The first one determines when it can move, if it moves. The second one determines how long it's going to move. Do I only need 1 timer for that? Right now I don't really care. So I will go ahead and add basic. Oh, and this I want to add the enemy qualifier. Bad. So, if the count of enemies is greater than 0, then I'm going to count for each enemy AI. When I spawn it, I'm going to set that alterable string gen enemies to more complex enemy, so I can load like animations and stuff from external files. So I'm going to say alterable values, multiple strings, set type to string type. And then I'll set direction, select direction, just a random one. So if loop on each object AI, insert if the string is basic, or I'll say, actually yeah, I'll say debug, or basic, not debug. Basic. Then I'm going to check insert alter value, compare alter value. If AI timer is greater than 0, subtract 1 from AI timer. That I actually want at the very end. Or no, I don't. If it is 0, I'm going to set alter values, set AI timer. I do only need one timer. Okay. AI timer to random from, I'll say 3 to 6 times 10. Yeah, I do only need one timer. And I'll give it an RNG value. So AI timer equals 0. It's going to set the RNG, alter value set RNG to random from 0 to 5. 0, it doesn't move. 1 through 4, it takes one of the 4 directions and moves there. So then if AI timer RNG equals 1, direction, select direction, right. And it's going to set the AI timer. Move this. No, I can't. This is right. Down. Left. And up. And you can do this without storing the RNG value, but to get it actually proportional, you just have to generate like a bunch of random numbers, and I don't want to have to deal with that. And it's also not very easily debuggable. There's a few ways to do this actually. Oh, not that. You could just, like when I spawned it, you could say like this and it'll pick a random direction. This is just how I want to do it because this is more manual and I can kind of see how everything's working. There's no black box behind like, oh well, how does it do the random number generation? It's very exposed. So then I can say if on each one of these, if the type is basic, RNG is not 0. Insert group. Timer up. And done. More descriptive, and then No, I want to pick the direction. Insert direction. Current direction is right. Speed like 1. Position x coordinate is position x coordinate plus speed. It's overlapping the backdrop. I want to undo that, because that means it moved into something. As there are also more advanced ways of doing this, I just don't care. At least not right now, because it's kind of like placeholder anyway. So I was thinking, pick a direction. Mix these two up. It gets stuck on walls, which is what I want. I think we're going to make it more likely that it doesn't move. I am going to go back and do that thing. So I'll say, it's kind of a weird thing to go back and change now, but I can say speed here. Here's what I can do. Set speed instead of RNG, and then in the actual RNG, I can pick a number, I can even say 0 to 5. Here for 0, 1, and 2, it just doesn't move. So this, I'll say 0, 1, 2, and 3, it doesn't move. No, I'll just do a coin toss. 50% it moves, 50% it doesn't. That. set speed to 0 if it's not moving, and set speed to 1 if it is moving. Discovered the problem. I want to keep the enemies from moving off screen. So I will also say, if they collide with the backdrop, or insert, or I'll say replace, or if position X position is greater or equal to frame width divided by 3 times 2, which is that far border, far right border, minus their width, because their position, their like actual position, is the top left. I'm gonna copy this down here. Nope, not there. I don't have to worry about this value anymore. Lower or equal to that, it doesn't move. And then same for this. I want to replace. So if it is moving down, and insert Y position is greater or equal to, I believe this is frame height minus 80, because there's a bit of buffer room at the top for the HUD. Divided by 3 times 2. And then I have to add the HUD back. Yeah, and then I have to say plus 80, I believe. And then I want to do the same thing for going up. Like that. So then I could add a bunch of enemies. Oh, this needs to be less than. That. There we go. Okay. So now I'll add a bunch of enemies. One near the top. One near the bottom. One near the left. They should not be able to leave the area. Spawned one of them outside the area. That doesn't came back, but he still left anyway. That's not good. So I saw the one leap from the bottom. Yeah, he did it again. So they can leap from the bottom. This guy just tried to leap from the left. That didn't work, so that's good. He didn't quite leap from the top yet. Do you want to see him try to leap from the top and see if he can? I don't think he can. That looked like he got stuck, which is good. Okay, good, excellent. I'm going to go ahead and add some debug calculation so I can see that's 1360. Let's see the player's position. I need that to be like 1328 or so, 1330. That is currently 1360. If I change this to 40. 1320. That would put it around here, which is too high. I do want that at 1330. What if I do just not remove that? 1332, that's what I wanted. So that works, okay. Weird. I do want to kill all of them. When I leave. So, right here. Screen transition activation, I want to destroy all enemies. So now if I like left from the side, kills them all, spawns more, kills them all, spawns more. Excellent. Perfect. HP is like a value? What the heck? I think I'm just gonna do the end of combat and I'm gonna be done for the night because I've been working on this all day. Basic enemy movements done. I'll just for right now, I'll just kill enemies when they get hit. So insert group events damage collisions another object enemy. So the sword hits an enemy. I will set stun. Here's what I'll say. Replace collisions overlapping an enemy. I'm going to loop all of them and call it damage. And then on loop of damage, insert if stun is 0, also just for safety, lower or equal to 0. Values set stun to like 4. And then I can just say on AI filter value add no, I want to make sure that stun just isn't active. Stun is okay, so well, stun is greater or equal to 0. This will be really basic. I'll just say move away from the player. So set x coordinate to position x coordinate plus angle of a vector, position x coordinate minus player x coordinate, same for the y. So this gives me an angle, and then I can use cosine and sine. So cosine of that. So I'll try this, and this should push the player away. I'll use sub 1 from stun. And then I'll go ahead and copy paste this into all of these. Actually, here's what I can do. This would save a bunch of computation time as well. If I do this and say start loop basic AI or AI basic, there we go. Now I can get rid of this. I think I could do that as well. So then I can do this. And that would save checking every single time. Okay. So now let's see. This thing should move away. It doesn't move at all. Okay. Does its stun get set? Stun is not getting set. Stun is currently -1. I believe that is because the sword might be on the wrong layer. Yes, it is. Still doesn't move away. Stun is still not getting set. Okay. Oh, I am. Okay. Yeah, that works. What about if I destroy it here? That works. The stun isn't getting set. Set it to a larger value just to test. Oh, well, yeah, of course not, because I'm only looking at one of them. I have to find the one that it's referring to. Yeah, there we go. Stun is equal to 10.
I had lost our way. We were trapped inside, not a place to stay. No choices but to hide and wait till the break of day.
And then I just have to check here.
A light to guide us home.
So now, instead of that, that's why. So if it's greater than 0, instead of AI, it's going to run knockback. There we go, perfect. Okay.